This is how scummy Dr. Teo and the other lying GP, the communists who have kicked me out of my surgery after I made that video fairly criticising communism. This is the kind of behaviour we can expect from these commie, scummy rats, alright? Bearing in mind, I do no drugs, I do not smoke at all, cannabis or cigarettes or otherwise, I don't drink and I never have. My mental health is absolutely in tip-top shape. I have never been a threat to anyone violent, myself or others. I was called by the mental health team today, who were really trying very hard to section me on the basis of these false claims made behind my back by my GP, who claims I asked for this referral because I was worried about my own health and I was worried that I was going to hurt someone. I can assure you that's complete fiction. He denies any current use of drugs and use of alcohol. Who am I? I do not deny these things. I just have never, no one's ever made the claim that I do those things. So they have made the claim to these people that I do drugs and drink, and now I have to deny them officially because they've made the claims. They are smearing me to make what I said look less than true when we know it clearly is. What else have they got to say? His mental state is as such. He was prompt in answering the phone, calm in manner, and answered questions in a precise, factual manner, and was able to give dates and narrative appropriate to the question. There was nil to suggest any psychosis, no thought disorder, mood seemed euthymic in range, and he expressed appropriate humour where it was used. He did not express any wish to harm himself or others at the surgery. I have never expressed a harm, or I've not even suggested that I would suggest any harm to those at my surgery. This is 100% fictionalized, and remember the last one they did is they said I went down to the surgery on the 4th of January and caused a violent altercation, and that was the reason why they unceremoniously kicked me off the registry without notifying me. I can assure you I never went down there on the 4th. I was making a complaint about them via email, via polite channels, about their 8 months of problems and mistakes, and I made it politely. And the thing that I was most concerned about in my complaint was how they falsified my medical records a month before that and said that I had overdosed on medicines when I actually hadn't received any medicines, hence the complaint. This kind of bullshit is what we have in store if we don't use our democratic voice and vote these communist scumbags fucking out of our government. We cannot let Lord Cameron and his thugs from China, these kind of people, we cannot let them into our government. Now I know what you're thinking. It's got to be Labour or Tory. No, these guys are traitors. They're communists. We cannot let them back in. Look at the state they've left our country in. Look at what they've done. And I'm not saying I agree with the only remaining candidate at the moment, Mr. Tice. I don't. But it's not about personality. We need to ensure our democracy remains rooted in, and then we can do what we're going to do after that. We can, have a rocky road with Mr. Tice and make sure we keep him accountable to the promises which he has made, despite having made promises on both sides. That's what I've realised about democracy. It doesn't self-drive. Democracy doesn't work on autopilot. So if we don't vote, and we don't hold people accountable, and we just expect that nice Mr. Government is going to make everything roll nicely and safely for us, we are fucking wrong. It will not. In fact, the only way that we have got ourselves into this current crisis of having communism right behind us, pulling the strings, is because we had our democracy on self-drive. We weren't participating as Democrats. We weren't putting our voice and our power behind our wishes, and we were not making these people accountable. And that is what we have to do now, or this kind of lies and deception and bullshit is going to be the new thing that we all have to deal with. Socialised healthcare, socialised benefits, socialised transport, socialised everything, and it is just lies. They just want to grind you down using lies, reputation destruction, until you toe the party line and you are a slave to them, and we cannot let that happen, ladies, gents and Pikachus. We just cannot. We've worked too long and too hard, and we've invested too much in this country to let our beautiful, glorious democracy disappear. We just cannot do it. So I will say once more, there's one way we get around this, and that is at the next election, making sure the despots, these absolute dishonest communist crooks, Labour and Tory, are kicked out and kept out. Looking back at the last 40 years, they have failed on every single count of government. All they've done is stuck the knife into our backs, robbed us while they were giving us a nice polite smile. And while I don't really trust Richard Tice all that much, I can tell you this: he's going to be a damn sight better than any of the people we know. For once, better the devil you know is wrong. We need to try something new, and unfortunately, since they got rid of Nigel Farage, they got rid of Lawrence Fox, and it looks like Richard Tice is the only person left. So that's the guy we have to get elected, and it's just as simple as that. So I really hope you take this seriously, because this is criminal. That is actual criminal dishonesty from a GP, from two GPs. With the slightest provocation of a fair complaint that I made after 8 months of suffering pain and injury through their medical negligence. And they've gone to all this trouble to make me and my reputation irrelevant. They've lied, they've done all kinds of things, and they will carry on doing them. And if you want that to be your future, then just carry on with the democracy on autopilot and see where it goes on its own. But I can tell you, it's not going anywhere good. So that's the end of this video. Be strong and smart about this. Democracy is worth saving. And the alternative is slavery, communism, and you're fucked. Alright? So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. 10 years ago, this would have been unthinkable conduct, absolutely unthinkable behaviour for a medical professional. It's negligence and it affects patient safety. But here we are, it's everyday living. Let's get these communists out of our government, out of our country, and put democracy back on the menu.